Which one is it?
That's, I thought it was good.
Oh.
Do we need to order?
Wait a minute,
So do we?
I got
Our negotiations.
on the detail sheet, it says on remarks, the project will need additional funds as the initial approved budget doesn't include estimated construction costs. None of them did except
Yeah,
the
none of them. They were all.
I mean, they were all just design, so I mean, that $78,000 was just for design then.
So I think, so the request said permission to hire design, so I don't necessarily think that needs, I don't necessarily, I mean,
If you
you have to
if
do
you
it
can do it for
anyway.
$78,000, I don't know why you need to, any action.
Yeah,
Because
that's what I'm saying.
In the $78,000, what we had in there for design.
Right.
Yeah.
Robinson Road.
Robinson Road, that's
Oh, I apologize for this.
currently in design. They should be somewhere at 90% design. We had a few meetings in October with Volker, the design consultant. And I think they've been sending stuff to MDOT for review. So that one we're looking at the schedule here, you know, for advertisement in November.
It's good. You got a question?
Just go ahead.
Okay. The plans have been submitted to MDOT for field review, and then we'll have an office review to go over those plans. In a preliminary discussion with some of the members of MDOT who approved the LPA projects, we seem to be pretty much on schedule. We won't have to acquire an additional right-of-way as it looks right now. So we'll know more once we set the date for the office review. So we'll probably have a better timeline for you in the December meeting. But we're pushing about as hard as we can to get that project out.
Chris, can you coordinate between economic development and these guys on understanding what the timeline could be so they can knock on doors on those businesses on that street?
Was it right?
Robert, yeah, because I've been getting killed every time I go to the store.
That's right down there close to the school.
It's around the corner from Woodville Heights, but it's
Around the corner from Woodville
around
Heights.
the corner from Woodville Heights.
It might, what I was going to ask about, this sheet that's in here, for the next time, can we update this sheet and those that reflect the fact that it's now, whatever we did, $110,000 rather than $6, and we're 20 max, and we advanced it. I mean, this sheet in here talks about a $6,000 budget.
On which one?
Robinson Road Bridge.
Now remember Robinson, that was one of the original.
Yeah.
The only two that we added were Southwest Street Bridge and for Caney Creek and West Haven.
Okay, so that's what I was asking about a minute ago is.
But those are not reflected yet.
Okay, so the Robinson Road Bridge is not the one that we did the MDOT with.
Yes, we did. We actually got that switched over. So we're going through the LPA process, which was identified as an ER project due to the March 10th storm. So we're going through that process with the possibility of hoping to get reimbursed.
Possibility of hoping to be reimbursed. Okay. I misunderstood what I was asking a minute ago. But either that would still apply to what I was trying to say and the Southwest. Add a bullet number or 2 or 3 about how the funding is with the MDOT, what we've approved and the match back.
We can do that.
Just information.
But they should officially be on in December because once the minutes are signed here, I can go ahead and get account numbers set up for those 2 projects.
Okay, but Robinson Road is the one we approved $6,000. It's now going to cost us $160,000. That's another case where we didn't take any action, but it went up, 10,000% or whatever that is. I don't know what 6,000 to 160,000 is. I mean, we got a $6,000 budget, and we got a contract out there for $167,000. Is that right? For engineering. That's what I'm saying. We estimated a $6,000 engineer budget,
Well, yeah.
and we contract for $167,000.
Right. Well, there was a bust on, I don't know.
Bust?
In the what?
And the bridge color.
And the bridge fell.
Yeah, it went from being one thing to another.
Did that change? I want to ask you this, because it fell in, it seemed like demolition cost would be cheaper.
We still have to remove the bridge from the creek.
But was it originally going to replace the bridge? Or originally, when we were talking about this a year and a half ago? Okay.
Yes.
But it was being designed in-house?
No.
No, okay.
Now, we estimated $6,000 for a design that's now costing us $167,000.
Okay. All right, water line.
Water line. And moving on, water line, East Overdrive. I spoke with the design consultant yesterday. Yesterday, all the water services have been connected. So they're looking at completing the project within the next 2 weeks. That's including those utility cuts that have been made. They will actually repair those utility cuts, develop the utility cut patch along the street. But all those will be taken care of prior to contractor being on site.
And they're going to make sure that they take care of, so we got temporary easements on these? Do we have to require any temporary easements?
I don't need to.
Okay, all right.
On this sheet, I don't give a damn if the contract was done before PG&M team got on board or not. That clause seems like it's a cover your ass clause, it's not going to be in there. And it is available what the final negotiated fee is. We're paying you $850,000. You ought to be picking up the phone and call them and find out what that is, be able to put that information in. It says final negotiated fees is not available.
Where are you?
I'm on page 36, over here in these detailed sheets of the project. I mean, it says final negotiated fees not available because the contract was executed prior to the project.
We don't have that in there for you, Mr. Perry.
I mean, I don't care when it was negotiated. You can still get that information. But page 36 over here and behind tab 3. That's where they got a sheet on each one of them. Neighbor.
All right.
Hey, neighbor.
All right, Lawrence Road, let's go.
For Lawrence Road, okay, moving on, Lawrence Road, currently under design. Also, public involvement team notifies residents of this project.
How's it?
The public team, the design consultant has their team that goes out and notify all the residents. Knocking on doors, they put in.
Did they notify them that our budget went up 400%?
They probably didn't.
I'm sure they didn't. Did you notify us that it went up 400%? Initial budget 646, now the current budget is 2.281.
I think.
Where's that money going to come from?
No, that project went up maybe, and alluding to what you spoke to earlier, that sewer line that was included.
Where's the money going to come from?
Well, if it's a sewer line, it can't come from 1%. Because 1% doesn't cover sewer.
It could, but we decided not to.
How can it? I don't remember seeing sewer in.
Wait, excuse me. It could, I think, but at our first meeting on Keisha's recommendation, because the water sewer had enterprise funds and the sewer problems were so big, and she went through this thing, she made a recommendation, and we voted then that we weren't doing any sewer projects.
Okay, so back to my point.
Yeah, we voted to do it. We voted not to do it.
All right. Right. So,
Look, Mayor,
Yeah.
I don't want to make this point. In fact, I think it would be our due diligence to look at all of the utilities. Now,
I agree.
we did, in the contract, it is specified that we evaluate. The main goal is to replace the water line and reconstruct the street. If we will CCTV the sewer line, if it's deemed that it needs repair, other funds will be used, or we will come back to this commission and ask for permission. But that construction estimate is an estimate. We would have to, if we move on for bids, have to come back and ask for additional funds if that is the will of this commission. But that's it.
Understand me, I used to be a contractor, I understand the estimates with Ashley talk. If that 646 turned out to be 710, you probably wouldn't heard people say a word about it. But if it goes from 646 to 2 point something million, I might want to sit here and say, or anybody else might want to say, wait a minute, is this still a priority? Because that's not what we bargained for.
Well, and I agree, because I don't think you're going to get any argument from me. I'm probably the one person that's going to argue with you that we need to look at comprehensive utility and upgrades with our infrastructure. But I don't know if we need to start venturing into the sewer with 1% money. And I say that because we got other issues with sewer, and I don't want 1% stuff to get tangled up in a consent decree. And that's all I'm saying. So I've got, I ain't gonna vote for it.
I totally agree with Don said the way you're looking at it all. I mean, if they got sewer problems, the way you take it up, I think that's good management. I'm not arguing about that, but to plan on letting a contract without saying where the money's coming from, whether it's sewer or not, but it's sewer, certainly.
Yeah. So that's my part. All right. So we'll kind of, I don't know, Lawrence Road, if it's in the design phase, I would say anything that you need to do outside of sewer, you move, but I don't think we need to look at a budget. It's not. I thought you said that's not what you were saying. I think the reason that, if we're saying the reason that the budget increased 400% is because of sewer, then we need to go back to what we originally said we were going to do and look at how do we fund the sewer part another way. I hear you, but if we do Lawrence, then we're going to have to do everything else. And then if I'm on one hand telling EPA that our hands are tied with money on one thing, then they're going to say, well, you got this over here that you can use the money for. All right.
You can pull the whole project.
Yeah.
It comes to it.
All right. Hanging Moss.
Put that wood off.
Hanging Moss water line contract currently in review.
So we negotiate, so when you say review, it's in legal?
It's in legal.
So for everybody's information, after legal, typically the next step is to me for signature.
It's in legal, at an estimated cost of $1.423 million.
Yes, that's what's in the tab 3.
And we approved $772,000. So that's a 100% increase. One of our points is, we said a little while ago we had $3 million left over left to spend. We really don't, because we've gone out there and we're committing it all. If it's in legal, if it's send you a contract for $1,004,000, and it's coming from us, there's another $700,000 coming from us around on our sheets, or it's coming from across the street's other money. But the original budget that we approved, including design, was $772.
We have not gone outside of what was originally approved.
What does this mean under Woodall Drive now on under tab 3, initial approved budget 1.8? What does that mean?
On Woodell? We talking about Woodell Drive? Okay.
Originally, in 2015, $1,886,000. $1,886,000, like $1 million. $1,886,000. That was approved. Part of that would be go toward design.
And Peter Chambers there.
No, I'm talking, we're on Hanging Moss Road project. That's not Woodall.
Okay.
On Hanging Moss, I don't know if anybody got the original sheets on it.
Hanging Off was originally plowed.
There was plowed, we moved from plowed because
Nobody was there.
nobody lived on the plow, board that building, so we moved to Hanging Off.
Correct. That original budget was $268,000.
So that's $268,000. And now we want a contract for being $420,000.
Now, the negotiated fees was $146,912.74.
Oh, so we're not,
So
That's what council approved.
At the time.
That's design.
yeah, but, so, wait a minute. What was the first road that what was the first road we were gonna do? You just said McLeod. So McLeod, we had $260,000 for construction.
For about 3 blocks.
For construction, yeah. And we moved that to Hanging Moss, but what we moved it was just for design for Hanging Moss.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I thought we moved it to Hanging Moss to put the water line, because I actually thought we put the water line in now because we put the bridge in it, could all be done at one time, was what was sold to us. That while we're doing the bridge, we could do the water line, and just all fit in with one nice neat little thing. Work. So it's not for construction, the money we moved was just for design, even though the price original was for construction. Okay,
I was just for construction for $100,000.
$200-something. But it wasn't 3 blocks, and it didn't have to have any tie-ins, because there wasn't anybody down there to tie into.
All right, so we're clear on Hanging Moss being just for design, right? All right, Waddell?
Drive, and that one says notice procedure as issued August 31st, 2016, and we're in design phase right now. The survey has been completed for that one, so the design consultant has started his design service.
All right, so has money been, no, it has. I mean, this is not a good question. I was going to ask if money has been budgeted or appropriated for construction.
Whatever. Yes, sir. That's all tied in that figure.
All right, so the NTP was to the contractor?
To the
Design.
All right, because I noticed on Waddell, they've been going out, doing some marking, and so, well, maybe about 2 months ago, they went out, somebody went out and did some marking on the property and stuff like that. So I didn't know, what would happen, located utilities, put flags and stuff, people's yards. All right,
Correct, them picking up a survey.
got it, okay.
And then, moving on to streets. Notice proceed issued for Riverside Drive for design. So there's
Design of phase 1.
phase 1, yes, sir.
What was what's the difference, phase 1 and phase 2?
Phase
Phase
2.
1 is Peachtree to I-55, all the divided area with the 4-bank tree. Phase 2 is part back to State Street where there's no tree.
And we spent the money for phase 2 somewhere else.
Yep, we hadn't spent.
Big money.
Look.
So we didn't give a notice to proceed on phase 2, just on phase 1.
All right, now I'll probably ask this every time. Are we clear on the trees?
Part of the,
We're still waiting on the evaluation of the tree.
leaving that to professionals.
Right.
All right, all right. I'll ask you every time. Just, all right.
We're clear on the trees that there's no ants on the tree.
Yes.
So y'all know the trees, the tree story, right? So there are these trees on Riverside, and some folks want to save them. You're one of them. All right. Anyway.
Some folks want to build a 2-lane road rather than a 3-lane road.
Yeah.
Because it's cheaper. They wouldn't have people speed down through there. All those northeast Jackson folks like did, I want to use that
All right, Mill
Bring me
Street.
into that.
Mill Street, we just discussed that one. That's the one we requested to change the limits.
So wait, I got a question though. It says will be advertised once MDOT approves of advertising. MDOT.
Scratch that.
Okay, thank you. I'm about to say that's
What we
3 months
did is try to save some time. We can, MDOT funding, we can use MDOT's master list of consultants to
Okay.
choose, shortlist and choose. We picked 5, evaluated them on their RFPs they submitted.
Who are they?
Off the top of my head,
Can you just shoot me an email?
I can.
Thank you.
And that's actually the letter you signed, we sent to MDOT.
Yeah,
We've
okay.
made a selection,
Yeah.
and we'll ask MDOT to give us approval to move forward to negotiate with that firm. And once they do that, we'll meet with them and negotiate a contract for the design work for the whole 3.4.
And now, you know why I'm asking. So I'm asking so that when it comes up, I can say, this is gonna come up. All right, so we talked about the request here, right? No, this is a new request.
Now we're done.
We're done that. All right, yes, sorry about that. Mega Evers.
Mega Evers, we currently, well, this one, Brian.
Mega Evers?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mega Evers is still under negotiation
With who?
with, Neil Shaker. Still in negotiations.
From where to where?
From north side to Sunset. Phase 1 will be strictly pavement evaluation in order to determine the pavement conditions. Help us determine where we need to go from that point forward in terms of construction on phase 2.
You say construction on phase 2? So we're looking at reconstruction of Mega Evers? Possibly.
Possibly. Yeah, it all depends on what comes out of phase 1, out of the study.
All right.
But also set the template.
Well, let me tell you what's going to be important while y'all doing that. What's going to be important is finding that, well, not finding, Jackie probably can help y'all, but get a copy of the proposed design on the medical corridor piece so that there's some kind of coordination when y'all are doing that. Because there's a design that was done, I think, by AJA or somebody at one point. Yeah, so I would suggest that y'all look at that just so we're not moving ahead with the medical corridor piece in 4 or 5 years and tearing up some street for no reason. All right.
Where's OM to the west Sunset is?
That's the end divided section, like if you're heading out toward Yazoo City and it's all 5 lane, where the road divides out,
That's Sunset.
that's at Sunset.
That's the question. When do you think you hear something back from MPO people since we had
February.
February.
They're going to evaluate everything over the winter, and then we'll get a notice at our February quarterly meeting as far as who's awarded what for all of the funding allocated this go round.
Since February was like one.
Yeah. Good job. Thank you. Lake Street.
10th Street, that's one within MDOT occupation.
From where to where?
From Highway 80 to 18, and you flip back to that,
So from the lodge to the bridge. All right.
and if you flip back to that page 6, which had that table, the year 1/2015 approved budget was $122,000. And once MDOT finalizes the amount of federal money left from the first Flint Street project from Jackson State to Highway 80, we'll know how much we have federal. We do have the 20% match available without the 1 cent sales tax.
Okay.
The 122 would be in addition to federal funds, the city's match that was previously allocated. Because we want to keep that 122 in the Flint Street project, move forward or do something else with it.
You're saying the construction from Lynn Street, phase 2,
Design and construction.
yeah, but the cost of phase 2 from Highway 80 out is going to be covered with MDOT money 80%.
80%, and we have the 20% already budgeted. That was all done before there was a 1 cent sales tax.
I would say yes, and here's why. Because we've already done the end of Lynch from the school down to 80. We've already from Wiggins up to 18. So it just makes sense to complete the street.
And we'll complete the street. It's, do you want to,
You want to keep the 20% money that's already allocated to put one,
and add the one, keep the 122 in, so you have city money, not 1 cent, yes, the 1 cent, and then you have federal money.
I would suggest that you leave it like it is, leave it on hold till you can get your information from them about what the money is, and you got bids. If it runs over the bid, if it runs over the bid, you got the MDOT money plus your 20% you already had in your budget, and you need some more. This would be more if it ran less. I mean, so that,
Okay,
so that,
makes sense.
you ain't got bids yet, so. I would be against replacing the 20%.
We're not.
I understand.
Yeah, we're clear on that.
I mean, yeah. You heard that earlier. I mean, that was the question I heard you ask, and I would be.
Not replacing, but we adding it on.
Adding on top, yeah.
So we'll keep that on standby in case we need it extra. Not a substitution.
All right, moving ahead, and just for one note, I see the SOL guys over there, going back to Euban Street, 30% design that was submitted on yesterday.
What's that?
For Euban Street.
How do we get to you?
He just went back.
They just went back.
He just wanted to give you
Euban
some
Street, yeah.
information.
Let me ask you, since you went back to Eubanks, we're now replacing a bridge over Eubanks using Tiger grant money. The bridge, is that added to it? I read something in here about Eubanks change with the bridge that's included in Tiger construction, something.
The box culvert will be designed by Stantec, but built as part of the Tiger project. So Stantec's plan we put in the Neil Schaefer plan for Tiger and bid with Tiger project.
But
It will be eligible for Tiger.
it would be part of the Tiger
Right.
funding.
Yes.
The rest of Eubanks is this money, but that box culvert is Tiger. Okay. I just read it. And that-
Water projects, program managers, that's us, so we just skip that one. Street resurfacing, utility cut repair, there is something to be discussed later on regarding utility cuts. So I guess we'll just stay that to the end. Urgent needs design, currently there are 2 projects under urgent needs, the 8th Street Bridge, and that one we're currently in negotiation. It's in legal, I should say. That one currently is in legal. That's what was updated earlier. That same bridge. Equipment, if you meant.
What's it? Want to talk through there was a question about the urgent needs and how those projects were set up and then how the expenditures, we can kind of talk through that real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, for the urgent needs, 2.7600 was for the school services, 800 for the equipment, 877,600 was for Main Street, 124, 419 for law.
So also, just for clarification, there was never like a separate project or account number that was set up specifically for urgent needs.
I understand that, I just, so you got, you mind, you don't have that pass out to email us those numbers, there was,
Well, they also appeared they should also appear in the spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet.
But we can,
but if they're in the spreadsheet, that's okay.
We just never assigned an actual project number for that. Every time there was a request that was made and approved by the commission, the money was moved out of that revenue account toward that project.
Actually, except for 2 pieces of equipment, program manager, I mean, commission didn't approve the urgent needs, because the idea was we didn't, that's why I was asking for it, but we hadn't approved, but we weren't going to approve. Make it, so, like the Lawson Street, something else is done, I mean, that was what didn't help me here. Did we say the city spent that and just kind of told us about it afterwards?
Well, when I look back at the original list, you know, we had comprehensive drainage study, which was $375. Program management was for $840. Then there was a line for green infrastructure. There was no money attached to that. Then we had urgent need and asset management of 2.7.
Right.
7 million. And then that totaled at 13,791,000. We never assigned
Yeah.
that.
I'm just saying the 2.7 was what I was trying to figure out. That had been being spent, and all I was asking for is what it had spent on. I know Larson Street was one of them, and you're spending on a couple other things. We didn't approve it, but we didn't have to approve it. I mean, that was, we approved 2.7 as a blanket.
Right.
And I was just wanting to know
Right. We'll have that.
where it's gone and how much of it's left.
Right. Yeah, so we'll put together a summary and
Yeah.
we'll send that out to the.
That's all I was asking. While you had.
So we, okay, go back.
Let me, because I figured this might have been already made. Reading through all this stuff, there's money that keeps on talking about the match for the county's paving that they did.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay? And in some places it says it came out of general funds, in some places it says it came out of 1% money. And I thought it might have come out of urgent needs. I'm just trying to figure out where.
It is in at year one budget. It has not been assigned a project number. From my understanding, it's supposed to come out of that 2.7. We're going to set aside at $600,000 to pay for the Kynes County match on those.
That they did not appropriate funds for a grant that they applied for. Keep going.
It was.
They applied for a grant,
Uh-huh.
didn't have the match. They came to the city and we came and asked this commission for it.
If it came out of urgent needs, you didn't, but that's okay. I think it came out of urgent needs.
Well, I'm just making a point that
Yeah.
that's where it came from.
Okay. But my question is twofold then. One, it came out of urgent needs. Two is some places in this paperwork it says it came out of the city's general funds, and some places it says it came out of 1%.
It came out of 1%.
So where we see it here in the general funds, that's a
That's
mistake.
not right.
Okay.
That's right.
But if it came out of 1%, it came out of the urgent needs out of 2.7.
Came out of 1%.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yes, sir. All right.
And the county didn't ask for it. Didn't apply.
Come on.
Okay. The equipment, auto patching machine is here and it's in use, so clear on that. Stormwater management, Allen Engineering is currently in legal. We should probably be through with that shortly. A couple of weeks, or I would say shortly. And
But
we-
the question on the equipment, the pothole patch machine, are we seeing more productivity since we've gotten this machine? I mean, the thought was we double or triple productivity because it was much more efficient. Have we seen that?
I think when you look at the number of potholes that we fill each month, I think we've seen a significant impact.
We have the data that we've been seeing says that the problem is we're just putting new wine in old wineskin. So if you look at any of the significant patches that we made with potholes, they'll fill a pothole, and then at the interior of that pothole that they fill, you see where another one begins to develop. So and it's because of the deterioration of that street in its entirety. So they'll go out and do how many they doing a month, Justin?
Potholes?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I haven't done a breakdown of average thus far because we just completed October.
But what do you know?
Well,
I think it's roughly 3,000.
roughly between 3,000 and 3,500.
So if we're doing that, then you're talking about maybe 3 to 4 times that are being created, depending on what's going on with the weather and what side of town you're going to.
So is the machine using asphalt or is it using the crushed stone?
You got one that use crushed stone, and you got one that actually use hot asphalt.
Let me ask a pothole question. So like if a pothole is reported, like a big pothole in the street, what is the longest that pothole would be expected